Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be exploring something that honestly, touches every single one of us. Emotional wounds.
Yeah.
You know, those unseen scars that life kind of just leaves on us,
Yeah.
Like after a bad breakup or friendship drama, or even just feeling totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
This deep dive is all about helping you understand and heal from those emotional wounds.
It's so interesting how these emotional wounds, though invisible, can impact our lives in such profound ways.
Okay, so let's dive in.
Yeah.
What exactly are emotional wounds?
Okay.
We're not talking about physical scrapes here.
Right.
More like the kind that can totally mess with your mental game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So imagine this. You experience something painful, like rejection, failure, or maybe even grief.
Okay.
These experiences can leave a lasting impact on how you see yourself and the world around you.
Totally.
They can even create thought patterns and behaviors that hold you back.
So it's like your brain gets stuck on replay.
Yes.
Going over those painful moments again and again and again.
Yeah.
It can be exhausting. And for our Gen Z listeners out there, it's on top of all the normal stress, you've got this emotional baggage weighing you down too.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that healing from these wounds is a journey, not a race.
I like that.
It takes time and self-compassion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about recognizing the signs that you might need to focus on healing.
Okay.
How do you even know if those emotional wounds are impacting your life?
Sometimes the signs can be pretty subtle.
Okay.
You might find yourself feeling constantly on edge, easily startled, or maybe you have trouble sleeping.
Right. It's like your brain is on vacation when it's not supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you might feel overwhelmed by even small things.
Right.
Or find yourself withdrawing from friends and family.
Yeah.
It's crucial to pay attention to these signs because they're often the first step towards healing.
Yeah, totally. And once you recognize the need for healing, it's important to create a safe space for yourself.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this idea of creating a safe space.
Yeah.
I get it, like a physical space, free from distractions.
Right.
But what about creating that emotional safe space?
Okay.
Especially for Gen Z. How do you escape the drama when your life is basically online 24/7?
Think of it as creating a healing zone in your life.
Okay.
Both physically and emotionally.
Gotcha.
It's about establishing those boundaries.
Boundaries.
Which are honestly your secret weapon to protect your energy and avoid those energy vampires.
Oh, absolutely. It's like setting those limits so you can focus on healing without getting dragged back into situations that could reopen those emotional wounds.
Exactly. And it's not about being rude, but rather about prioritizing your well-being.
Okay.
Learning to say no without feeling judgy is a game changer.
Yes.
Especially in situations or relationships that feel toxic.
So how do we actually do that?
Right.
I mean, especially for Gen Z, where there's so much pressure to please everyone and be on all the time. How do you say no without feeling like a total jerk?
It starts with recognizing that you have the right to protect your energy.
Okay.
You can try simple phrases like, I appreciate the offer, but I can't do that right now.
Gotcha.
You don't have to over-explain.
Right.
Just be firm but kind.
That's actually really helpful.
Yeah.
It's like you're giving yourself permission to take care of your emotional well-being, which brings us to the next step.
Okay.
Self-care.
Yes.
But honestly, sometimes self-care feels like just another thing on our to-do list.
Right.
And let's be real, who needs another to-do?
I hear that self-care doesn't have to be this huge production, though.
Okay.
It's about finding those small things that bring you joy and help you recharge.
I like that.
Think of it as an act of self-love, not selfishness.
I love it. Self-love instead of selfishness. It's like a total mindset shift.
Totally.
So what are some self-care things that really resonate with Gen Z?
Okay.
I mean, beyond face masks and bubble baths, which, don't get me wrong, those are great.
Of course.
But I'm thinking even simpler stuff.
Think about activities that help you process emotions and de-stress.
Okay.
Rocking out to your favorite tunes.
Love it.
Journaling to untangle those thoughts. Expressing yourself through art or music.
Yeah.
And there are tons of cool apps designed for Gen Z.
Right.
From meditation to mood tracking.
Totally.
All super helpful for navigating your emotions.
Okay, this is making me want to crank up my playlist right now.
Do it.
But seriously, I think it's so important to remember that even these small acts of self-care can make a big difference. We don't have to wait for a spa day to start taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Little things add up.
They do. And while those individual practices are important, healing isn't a solo mission.
You're totally right. It takes a village.
Right.
So let's talk about the power of connection.
Okay.
I mean, for Gen Z, connecting online is second nature.
Yeah.
But how do we make those connections really count when it comes to emotional healing?
It's about finding those spaces where you feel truly supported and understood.
Okay.
It could be online communities where you can share experiences and feel less alone.
Right.
Or simply reaching out to a trusted friend or family member.
Yeah.
Remember, vulnerability is strength, and sharing your struggles can be incredibly healing.
It's like you said, healing is a journey, and you don't have to walk that path alone.
Exactly.
It's amazing how much strength you can find in connecting with others.
Totally. And while leaning on your support system is crucial, sometimes you might need a little extra help.
Right.
And that's where professional help comes in.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's still a stigma around therapy.
Right.
What would you say to someone who's hesitant to reach out for professional help?
Seeking professional help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Okay.
It's like if you broke your leg, you wouldn't hesitate to see a doctor, right?
Right.
Well, emotional wounds can be just as impactful.
Totally.
And sometimes we need a little extra support to heal them.
I see.
A therapist can give you tools and strategies to navigate those tough emotions and work through past trauma.
Plus, there are so many options available now, including online therapy, which can be more accessible and less intimidating for some people.
Right.
It's all about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. And remember, you deserve to heal and to live a life free from the weight of those emotional wounds.
This has been super helpful already.
Yeah.
We've covered creating a safe space, boundaries, self-care, and the importance of connection, and even professional help.
Right.
Is there anything else we should keep in mind?
Yes.
Okay.
As we start this healing journey, one of the most important things is to be patient with yourself. Remember, healing isn't linear. It's a process with ups and downs.
I see.
And it looks different for everyone.
So true. It's like you're not going to wake up one morning and suddenly all those emotional wounds are magically gone.
Exactly.
It takes time, and it's okay to have setbacks along the way.
It is. Celebrate every little victory and don't beat yourself up over the setbacks.
I like that.
It's all part of the process.
This is such great advice. I think we need to hear that more often.
Yeah.
That it's okay to not be perfect in this whole healing thing.
Absolutely. Embrace the imperfections and celebrate your progress, however small. And remember, you're not alone in this.
I love that permission to be human.
Yes.
We're all in this together, figuring it out as we go.
Exactly. And sometimes figuring it out involves taking a step back.
Okay.
And recognizing the impact of those negative thoughts.
Right.
They can really sabotage your progress.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
My brain can be like a broken record.
Yeah.
Replaying all the worst case scenarios. It's exhausting.
It's like those negative thoughts become these deeply ingrained patterns that keep us stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and fear.
So how do we break free from those negative thought patterns?
Okay.
Because sometimes it feels like they're on autopilot.
That's where mindfulness comes in.
Okay. I've heard of mindfulness, but I'm not sure I totally get it. Is it like meditation?
They're definitely related.
Okay.
Think of meditation as a way to practice mindfulness.
Gotcha.
It helps you develop that awareness of your thoughts and emotions so you can observe them without getting swept away.
So it's like instead of trying to fight those negative thoughts, you just acknowledge them and let them pass.
Exactly. It's about creating that space between you and your thoughts.
Okay.
So you can choose how you respond to them rather than just reacting automatically.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how powerful mindfulness can be for breaking free from those negative thought loops.
It really is a powerful tool. And the best part is you can practice it anywhere, anytime. Just a few minutes of focusing on your breath or tuning into your senses can make a big difference.
Okay, I'm adding mindfulness to my list of things to try.
Yes.
It sounds like a simple yet effective way to start taking control of those pesky negative thoughts.
And as you gain more awareness of your thought patterns, you'll start to notice those deeper emotional wounds that might require a little extra support to heal.
You're right. Some wounds need a little more than just a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
They might need professional help.
And remember, therapy isn't just for serious problems. It can be a valuable tool for anyone who wants to understand themselves better.
Okay.
And develop healthier coping mechanisms.
That's such a good point. It's like, why wait until things are really bad to seek help.
Right.
It's about taking care of your mental and emotional well-being, just like you would your physical health.
Exactly. And remember, finding the right therapist is key.
Right.
It's like finding the right pair of shoes. They need to fit your needs and make you feel comfortable.
Okay, so we've talked about mindfulness.
Yeah.
And the possibility of therapy. What about those everyday emotional bumps and bruises?
Right.
The ones we all experience from time to time.
Yeah.
Are there things we can do to handle those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Without it turning into a major meltdown.
Okay.
Remember those self-care practices we talked about earlier? Like listening to music, spending time with loved ones, or taking a walk in nature.
Yeah.
Those small things can make a big difference in managing your emotional state.
Right. It's like having a first aid kit for your emotions.
Exactly.
You've got your go-to strategies for soothing those everyday hurts.
And remember, healing isn't about being perfect.
Okay.
It's about progress, not perfection.
So true. It's a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely. And it's a journey filled with ups and downs, twists and turns.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is to keep moving forward.
Okay.
Even when it feels tough.
I love that. Keep moving forward one step at a time. It's a good reminder that even when we stumble, we can always pick ourselves up and keep going.
And you know what?
Cut.
You don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Reach out for support when you need it. Whether it's a friend, family member, or even an online community, there's strength in numbers.
This is all such great advice.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling more hopeful about this whole emotional healing thing. It's like we all have the power within us to heal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be this overwhelming, complicated process.
Exactly. It's about taking those small steps, being kind to yourself, and celebrating your progress.
This has been an amazing conversation so far.
Yeah.
We've learned so much about what emotional wounds are, recognizing the signs and taking those first steps toward healing.
Absolutely.
But before we dive into more practical tools and techniques, let's take a quick break.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about taking those first steps on your healing journey. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to go through this alone.
So true. Having a support system is key. But there's also a lot we can do on our own to build resilience and navigate those inevitable emotional ups and downs.
And one of the most powerful tools you have is the ability to reframe those negative thoughts that can keep you stuck.
Let's talk about that because honestly, sometimes my brain feels like a magnet for negativity.
Yeah.
It's like all the embarrassing moments, awkward encounters, and cringy situations just replay on a loop.
What's fascinating is that our brains are actually wired to remember negative experiences.
Really?
More vividly than positive ones. It's an evolutionary thing.
Really? So it's not just me being a drama queen.
Yep.
It's like built into my DNA.
Exactly. Back in the day, our ancestors needed to remember those threats and dangers to survive.
Okay.
So their brains developed this negativity bias, prioritizing those experiences that could signal potential harm.
So basically our brains are hardwired to be a little bit extra.
You could say that, but the good news is that we can retrain our brains to focus on the positive.
Okay.
And build resilience in the face of challenges.
Okay, tell me more. How do we rewire those ancient brain circuits and stop dwelling on all the negative stuff?
One of the most effective ways is through mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's about shifting your attention to the present moment, noticing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, and choosing how you want to respond rather than just reacting automatically.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do you actually do mindfulness? Is it just sitting cross-legged and chanting, Om?
Mindfulness doesn't have to be complicated. You can practice it anytime, anywhere.
Okay.
It could be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to focus on your breath or notice the sensations in your body.
So like if I'm feeling stress, I can just close my eyes and focus on the feeling of my chest rising and falling as I breathe.
Exactly. Or you could try a mindful walk in nature. Paying attention to the sights, sounds, and smells around you. The key is to really be present in the moment.
Right.
Not lost in your thoughts about the past or worries about the future.
I love that idea. It's like hitting the pause button on all the mental chatter and just tuning into what's happening right now.
And the more you practice mindfulness, the more you'll notice those negative thought patterns start to loosen their grip.
Okay.
You'll develop this ability to observe them without getting swept away.
Okay. I'm definitely adding mindfulness to my self-care toolkit. Sounds like a super helpful way to manage those everyday emotional ups and downs and break free from those negative thought spirals.
It really is a game changer.
Yeah.
And as you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings, you might start to notice those deeper emotional wounds that might require a different approach.
You're right. Sometimes those wounds need a little more TLC.
Exactly. And that's where therapy can be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
A therapist can provide a safe and supportive space for you to explore those deeper emotional wounds and develop healthy coping mechanisms.
Okay, let's talk about that, because I think there are still a lot of misconceptions about therapy.
Right.
Especially among Gen Z.
It's true. There's this idea that therapy is only for people with serious problems.
Right.
But that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Therapy can be beneficial for anyone who wants to improve their mental and emotional well-being.
Totally.
It's like going to the gym for your mind.
I love that analogy. It's about building emotional strength and resilience.
Exactly.
And just like with physical fitness, consistency is key.
It is. Therapy isn't a quick fix.
Right.
It's a process that takes time and commitment.
Okay.
But the rewards are so worth it.
So what would you say to someone who's thinking about therapy, but feels a little nervous or unsure about taking that first step?
It's completely normal to feel hesitant. Starting therapy can be a big decision.
Yeah.
But remember, there's no shame in asking for help. In fact, it takes a lot of courage to reach out and prioritize your mental health.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And there's so many options available these days, from traditional in-person therapy to online platforms that make it more accessible and convenient.
Absolutely. It's all about finding what works best for you.
Right.
And don't be afraid to shop around and try different therapists until you find someone you feel comfortable with.
It's like finding the right mentor.
Yeah.
You want someone who you trust.
Yes.
And who gets you.
Exactly. And remember, therapy is a collaborative process.
Okay.
You and your therapist will work together to develop a treatment plan that's tailored to your specific needs and goals.
Okay, so we've talked about mindfulness and therapy as tools for healing those deeper emotional wounds. But what about those everyday emotional bumps and bruises that we all experience? Are there things we can do to navigate those?
Absolutely. Remember those self-care practices we talked about earlier? Like listening to music, spending time with loved ones, taking a walk in nature. Those small things can make a huge difference in regulating your emotional state.
Okay.
And building resilience.
It's like having a first aid kit for your emotions.
Exactly.
You've got your go-to strategies for soothing those everyday hurts.
And it's important to remember that healing isn't a linear process.
Right.
There will be ups and downs, setbacks, and breakthroughs.
So it's like a roller coaster with highs and lows.
You could say that, but the important thing is to keep moving forward.
Okay.
Even when it feels tough. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Reach out for support when you need it.
Yeah.
Whether it's a friend, family member, or even an online community.
Totally.
There's strength in numbers.
This is all such great advice. I'm already feeling more hopeful about this whole emotional healing thing. It's like we all have the power within us to heal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be this overwhelming, complicated process.
Exactly. It's about taking those small steps.
Right.
Being kind to yourself and celebrating your progress, however small. And remember, you're not alone in this.
I love that. Permission to be human. We're all in this together, figuring it out as we go.
Absolutely. And sometimes figuring it out involves recognizing that we can't always prevent emotional wounds.
Right.
Life is going to throw us curveballs.
Yeah.
But what we can do is build resilience.
Okay.
So we're better equipped to handle those challenges when they come up.
So it's not about avoiding hurt altogether.
Right.
But about learning to bounce back stronger.
Exactly. Resilience is like a muscle.
Yeah.
The more we use it, the stronger it becomes.
So how do we build emotional resilience? Is it like doing mental push-ups?
There are so many things you can do to strengthen your resilience muscle.
Okay.
Mindfulness is one of them. Self-care is another. Connecting with others is key.
And therapy, if we need that extra support.
Exactly. It's all about building those coping mechanisms and resources that help you navigate tough times. And remember, it's okay to ask for help.
That's so true. We don't have to go through this alone.
And as you start to develop those resilience skills, you'll notice that those everyday emotional bumps and bruises don't hit quite as hard.
So it's like the more we practice bouncing back,
the
easier it becomes.
Exactly. You start to develop this inner strength that helps you weather the storms.
This is all making so much sense. I'm starting to see how healing isn't just about fixing what's broken, but about becoming more whole, more resilient, and more equipped to handle whatever life throws our way.
Beautifully said. Healing is a transformative journey.
Right.
And it looks different for everyone.
Totally.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
And sometimes that journey involves challenging those deeply held beliefs.
Right.
That might be holding us back. It's like those limiting beliefs we've picked up along the way that tell us we're not good enough, not worthy enough, or not capable enough.
Those limiting beliefs can be so sneaky.
Totally.
They often operate beneath the surface, shaping our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without us even realizing it.
So how do we identify those limiting beliefs?
Right.
It's like they're hiding in the shadows of our subconscious, whispering negative messages in our ears.
One way to uncover them is to pay attention to those recurring negative thoughts and patterns that keep popping up.
So like if I constantly find myself thinking, I'm not good enough, or I'm going to fail, those could be signs of a deeper limiting belief at play.
Exactly. Those thoughts are like the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
And by exploring those thoughts with curiosity and compassion, we can start to uncover the deeper beliefs that are driving them.
Okay, so let's say we've identified a limiting belief. What do we do then? How do we challenge those beliefs that have been holding us back for who knows how long?
It's a process, and it starts with awareness. Once you've identified a limiting belief, you can start to question its validity.
So it's like putting those beliefs on trial.
Exactly. Ask yourself, is there evidence to support this belief? Where did this belief come from? Does it still serve me?
Those are great questions. It's like shining a light on those beliefs. And seeing if they hold up under scrutiny.
And often you'll find that those limiting beliefs are based on old stories. Past experiences or messages we've internalized from others. They might not even be true.
Wow, that's powerful. It's like we're giving ourselves permission to rewrite those old narratives.
Exactly.
And create new, more empowering beliefs.
And as you challenge those limiting beliefs, you'll start to create space for new possibilities and opportunities to emerge.
Okay, so we've talked about challenging limiting beliefs as a way to support our healing journey. What else can we do to cultivate emotional resilience and navigate those inevitable ups and downs of life?
Let's talk about the power of self-compassion. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a friend who's struggling.
Self-compassion is such a buzzword these days. But sometimes it feels easier said than done. How do we actually practice self-compassion? Especially when we're feeling down on ourselves.
Well, it starts with recognizing that we're all human and we all make mistakes. We're all going to experience setbacks and challenges. It's part of being alive.
So true. It's like we're allowed to be imperfect. We don't have to have it all figured out all the time.
Exactly. And when we can embrace our imperfections with kindness and understanding, we create a more supportive and nurturing inner environment for healing to take place.
So instead of beating ourselves up for our mistakes, we can acknowledge them, learn from them, and move on with compassion.
Absolutely. And remember, self-compassion isn't about letting ourselves off the hook or making excuses. It's about recognizing that we're worthy of kindness and forgiveness, even when we mess up.
I love that. It's like we're giving ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes, and to grow from those experiences.
Exactly. And the more we practice self-compassion, the more resilient we become.
This is so helpful. I'm starting to see how self-compassion can be a real game changer. In our healing journey. It's like we're creating a more supportive and loving relationship with ourselves, which allows us to navigate those emotional ups and downs with more grace and ease.
Beautifully said. And as you cultivate self-compassion, you might also find yourself drawn to connect with others who are on their own healing journeys.
You're right. Sometimes sharing our experiences with others can be incredibly healing and empowering.
Absolutely. There's something so powerful about realizing that we're not alone in our struggles. And when we connect with others who get it, we create a sense of belonging and community that can be so supportive during those challenging times.
So where do we find those supportive communities? I mean, for Gen Z, the online world is huge, but how do we make those connections really count when it comes to emotional healing?
There are so many amazing online spaces where you can connect with others who are going through similar experiences. You can find groups dedicated to specific challenges, like dealing with anxiety or navigating relationships.
It's like having a virtual support group right at your fingertips.
Exactly. And many of these online communities offer a sense of anonymity, which can be really helpful if you're not quite ready to share your story openly.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need that space to process our emotions.
Yeah.
And build up the courage to share more openly.
Absolutely. And remember, connection doesn't have to be limited to online spaces. You can also look for local support groups, workshops, or events that focus on emotional well-being.
I love that. It's like building a real-life support system of people who get it.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of connecting with friends and family members who are supportive and understanding.
So true. Those real-life connections are so important. It's like having a cheering squad in your corner, rooting for you every step of the way.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to go through this alone.
Yeah.
There are so many people out there who want to support you on your healing journey.
This has been such an incredible conversation. I'm feeling so much more empowered and hopeful about this whole emotional healing thing. It's like we've got a whole toolkit of strategies and resources to help us navigate those challenges and build resilience.
I'm so glad to hear that. And remember, healing is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's a process of growth, self-discovery, and transformation.
And it's okay to have ups and downs along the way.
Yeah.
The important thing is to keep moving forward one step at a time.
Beautifully said. And as you continue on your healing journey, remember to be kind to yourself, celebrate your progress, and reach out for support when you need it. You've got this.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel like I've learned so much already.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up our deep dive, let's take a quick break to gather our thoughts and prepare for the final part of our exploration.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be right back. We're back! Ready to dive into some practical tools and techniques.
Yeah, there's so many options available.
Right. And it's about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. Healing isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Yeah, it's about finding what resonates with you and fits into your lifestyle.
Totally. So let's start with something super accessible. Movement.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What does movement have to do with emotional healing?
Well, when we experience those tough emotional moments, our bodies can get stuck in that fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Okay.
And movement can help release that pent-up energy and reset your nervous system.
So it's not just about hitting the gym or anything like that?
No, not at all. It could be dancing yoga, going for a walk in nature, or even just putting on your favorite playlist and letting loose in your room. The point is to move your body in a way that feels good for you.
Okay, I can totally get behind that. I'm already picturing myself doing a victory dance after acing that presentation. Or finally finishing that project that's been stressing me out.
That's the spirit. And remember, it doesn't have to be a big production. Even a few minutes of movement can make a difference.
I'm definitely adding movement to my self-care toolkit.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
Let's talk about creative expression. Sometimes words just aren't enough to process our emotions.
Right.
And that's where creativity comes in.
It's true. Art can be such a powerful outlet for expressing those feelings that are hard to put into words.
Exactly. Think about things like painting, writing, creating music, or even just doodling in a notebook.
Yeah.
Find a creative outlet that speaks to you and allows you to express yourself freely.
I love that. It's like giving your emotions a voice, even if it's not through words.
Yeah, and the beauty of creative expression is that there are no rules.
Right.
It's not about creating a masterpiece. It's about the process of exploring and expressing yourself.
Okay, this is making me want to dig out my old art supplies and see what happens.
Yes.
What other tools do we have for emotional healing?
Well, we've talked about the power of connection before, but it's worth emphasizing again.
Because sometimes when we're hurting, our instinct is to isolate ourselves, right?
Yeah, that's a common response, but it can actually make things worse.
I see.
Connecting with others, whether it's friends, family, or a support group, reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles.
Right, because sharing our experiences with others can help us feel seen and understood.
Exactly. And it can also help us challenge those negative thoughts and beliefs that keep us stuck.
So it's not just about venting.
No.
It's about gaining perspective and support from people who truly get it.
Absolutely. And remember, connection doesn't have to be face-to-face.
Right.
There are so many incredible online communities where you can find support and connect with others who are going through similar experiences.
This is giving me hope. It's like, even if you're feeling isolated, there's always a way to reach out and find connection.
Exactly. And sometimes just knowing that other people understand what you're going through can make a world of difference.
Okay, so we've got movement, creative expression, and connection. as powerful tools for healing. What about those times when we're being really hard on ourselves? How can we cultivate more self-compassion?
Self-compassion is so essential for healing. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a friend who's struggling.
I agree. But honestly, sometimes self-compassion feels like the hardest thing to practice.
It can be challenging, especially when we're used to being self-critical. But think about it this way.
Okay.
Would you talk to a friend the way you sometimes talk to yourself?
Probably not.
Exactly. We tend to be much harder on ourselves than we would ever be on anyone else.
Yeah.
So start by noticing that inner critic.
Okay.
And challenging those negative thoughts.
So it's like instead of beating ourselves up for our mistakes, we acknowledge them, learn from them, and move on with a little more grace.
Absolutely. And remember that self-compassion isn't about making excuses.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're all human and we all make mistakes.
I love that. Permission to be perfectly imperfect.
Exactly. Embracing our imperfections is a huge part of healing and growth.
Okay, I'm feeling so much lighter after this conversation. It's like a weight has been lifted. What a great way to wrap up this deep dive into emotional healing.
It's been such a pleasure sharing these tools and insights with you.
Thank you so much for joining us and for all the amazing advice. We hope you feel empowered to start exploring these techniques and find what works best for you on your own healing journey.
And remember, you are capable of healing. You are worthy of love and happiness.
That's a beautiful message to end on. Remember, everyone, healing is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, setbacks and breakthroughs. But the most important thing is to keep moving forward one step at a time.
And never forget that you are not alone. There are people who care about you, resources to support you, and a whole lot of strength within you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into emotional healing. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive. Take care.